What's going on, YouTube? It's your man Azrael, the one here. Hey, listen, this wasn't my plan to do another video on this side of Thursday. In fact, I wasn't supposed to do another upload to the end of the weekend, but I happened to see a comment that was left in my video by Big Dre XXX that linked me to a conversation that he had, and it was relating to a video that I did on my channel dealing with one divine mother and her, how do I say, completely unnecessary commentary regarding Tommy Sotomayor and his daughter, and the correlation of his daughter to Nappy Ho 83. Now, before I get into the subject matter on this video, I feel I must make this disclaimer. I shouldn't have to make this disclaimer, but for the points of being clear to some people who obviously have a comprehension level of a 5th grader, I'm going to make this distinction. Here it is. This commentary in which you are about to hear is not in any attempt to incite a flame war, nor is it in any attempt to excoriate for the purposes of generating viewership, subscribership, or otherwise any monetary activity that can be contrived as a result of the views, ad clicks, or donation clicks on this video and subsequent my channel. This is just me giving my honest assessment of the given situation. At no point am I making this video with the intent to create such a beef between me and Tyrone Thompson on an online or a personal level. If by any chance that you are at this point in the video and you do not wish to hear this commentary, I implore you to please, if you are on the mobile phone, press the return arrow. If you are on your PC/Mac, please either press the back arrow or press the red X that is out in the upper top right portion of your screen. Or you may choose from any other videos that I have produced or any other video that any YouTuber has produced. If you go past this point, you are consenting to receive this commentary. You agree to hold me harmless for any opinions that may result in flame war actions of others against Talk Real Solutions or Tyrone Thompson. And you furthermore agree that you will not in any shape, form, or fashion harass me thus over this opinion. You will not in any way, shape, form, or fashion take, reproduce, edit, or transmogrify this video or its sound without my express written permission. Now that I've gotten this disclaimer out of the way, I'm going to put in the box the link to the video so you guys can hear it for yourself. Now, Tyrone, this is your logic. The men should check the men, and the women should check the women. So since this is the logic that we're going to follow, I'm going to check you. And I'm not going to check you overall on the whole things of the myriads of issues I have with your platform. I'm going to check you on this one issue. Now, when it comes to the Divine Mother, you made some statements in your conversation with Big J XXX. And even though sometimes Big J may annoy me a bit with his overzealous approach to things, in this instance, this man was correct. You kind of give these chicks a pass. Now, Divine Mother is not a woman who is a stranger to controversy. But I'll get to that in a minute. I noticed that you have this thing on your platform. You tend to play the white knight, the simp, and dare I say the mangina. And let me explain. Mr. Thompson, I have never been on any platform or heard any radio platform and where the host allows anyone to disrespect anyone. But to be more specific, I've never heard of a platform where a host has allowed the females to disrespect the males and the males to disrespect the females. Now, I will give you credit. You don't allow males to disrespect the females. I honestly think that's a positive thing. But then you shoot yourself in the foot by allowing the females to disrespect the males. Now, with respect to this conversation, instead of dealing with what Big J Triple H actually said, you used an ad hominem attack and you went after his speech impediment. Now, the problem with what you said, Tyrone, was that one, it wasn't funny. And two, you didn't negate the fact that the man was correct. So all you did pretty much was make yourself look silly. And for a man of your age, that's pretty bad. Now remember, this is not me trying to cause a beef. This is merely me expressing my opinion, because apparently when I'm on the show with you live, I cannot seem to find maturity with you or your panel members. So I think this will be fair for me to do this here. It was uncalled for, and it didn't negate what he said. And I understand Big J can be a little taxing because he's very, very zealous. So I totally understand that. But to attack the man that way was just completely uncalled for. It was very childish. Personally, I think you owe the man an apology if you're about what you say you're about. Now, I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this, but in a way, even LA made a point. And now this is where I'm going to get in reference specifically to the point I mentioned earlier, I would say for later. Now, the Divine Mother did something that was out of line. And LA is a parent. You've got kids. I've got kids. So this is something we all can relate to. I'm not sure if LA has any sons. I'm sure that he does. Or at least I would like to believe to. I know that you have at least one son. And I have two. This is a woman who has controversially in the past has suggested that 90% of the world's men should die. Now, excluding the three people I just named, including myself in that reference, either we have adult male sons or young boys who will grow up to be men. Don't you find that a little strange that a woman would say that and not be checked on that? Isn't it a little weird, Tyrone, that you are giving this woman a pass for saying that, and then you just, instead of dealing with the facts, you want to name call and those kind of things? See, I noticed that there's this thing, and I'm going to shout David Carroll out for taking out one of his quotes, but when black men do shit to black women, you're on your soapbox with your megaphone and you giving them that business. But when the inverse is true, you are more silent than a rat pissing on cotton. And I just don't get the logic. I don't understand this. Now, I'm going to say this again. This is not me causing a beef with you, brother. This is me checking you. Remember, like you said, the men check the men and the women check the women. The only difference between you and me is age and experience. But I'm still a man just like you are. And if I was wrong, I would expect you to check me. So since I think you're wrong, I'm going to do my civic duty and my brotherly duty and check you. Now, I know, Tyrone, that you have daughters. Now, even though you don't like Tommy Sotomayor, if somebody did to your daughters what Divine Mother did to his daughter, well, we know how you gonna turn out. I mean, after all, there is a video on my channel excoriating people for fucking with your deceased child. Do you remember that? Remember, and I said in that video, I don't like you too much. And I said to this effect, if I had seen you walking down the street and you were on fire, I wouldn't piss to put you out. But I also went in that same video to say, what you guys doing is wrong, it's not cool. And I pretty much intimated that most of you that were doing it needed your ass kicked immediately. So knowing that you've been in that position where people have taken your deceased child and your living daughters and have fucked with them in such a way online to the point where it got you seeing red, ready to kill somebody, I don't understand how you can honestly let that shit pass. I don't get it. Surely, even if you don't like this man Tommy, surely on this you two could agree. Because when it was you, you didn't like it. But wait a minute. You said in that conversation, if somebody don't like Tommy, you're gonna support them. So let me get this straight. This woman did something so vile and disgusting as that, and you're gonna support that. Well, then by that same logic, Tyrone, you shouldn't get mad if people did that to your daughters or to your sons. Now, for the record, I'm going to say this. I'm not encouraging anyone to do that to this man. Regardless of how reprehensible he is. Nobody deserves that. But wouldn't it just be king if someone did that to you? But I know what you're going to say. You're going to get mad. You're going to think I'm fucking with you. No, I'm just being real with you. Now let me tie this back into my earlier assessment. Because you and a lot of the males on your platform, I'm not saying some, I'm not saying most, I'm saying it's a lot of them. You can vary those numbers how you want to. Are white knights, simps, and manginas. This becomes the microcosm by which we as a community will never advance. Because what you're asking, Tyrone, is impossible. No community can rise higher than the moral position of its women. No community can. And because of what you're asking black men to do, we will continue to stay at the bottom of the barrel because the brothers will be high frequency and the majority of the females that are with these brothers are going to be lowbrow, low-class females. That's the facts. I know you're not going to like what I just fucking said, but it's the truth. Because if it were not true, Tyrone, as a parent, you would have called that shit out. The females on your platform should have called that shit out. It should have been a fucking discussion. It should have been, this was wrong. We don't support that. Divine Mommy, you owe this man an apology. And you know what? Like the Autobots, transform and roll out. That's what it should have been. But yet, that's not what happened. What happened was, Tyrone, like in every other instance, a black woman does shit, you give a pass and your ass is silent as a rat pissing on cotton. Now, maybe it's just me, and I have my own personal presumptions about you, but putting that all aside, I think this is evidently clear. You cannot be about what you say you are about if you're going to continue doing this. Now, I did say, if I didn't say this earlier in the video, I'm going to say it now. Now, here are some solutions. So everybody's going to get mad that I'm critiquing you and not offering a solution. Well, let's start with the obvious. I think the first solution should be that we should honestly come together and say this was wrong. Not because, you know, you're begrudging it, but because it's the morally right thing to do. Secondly, let's quit the ad hominem attacks. We as black men should be able to have a conversation even if we disagree. We shouldn't cherry pick, move the goalposts, appeal to emotions. We shouldn't use red herrings and ad hominem attacks. And for your information, these are logical fallacies that you commit on a regular basis. We should be able to be straight up with each other and say what the fuck it is. We shouldn't be afraid to check these women. Because you know what? These women are not afraid to check us. And that's how relationships grow. That's how a community grows. You were in the military, so you know this. You know how this works. When you see a soldier ate up, it doesn't matter if he's a private or he's the commanding general. If you see something that's out of line with the regulation, you have all authority to correct that. So apply that, what you learned in the military, to your community. And the community of blacks all around this country who join you on a nightly basis on your show. If you hear some shit that's just out of line, it shouldn't matter what's between a person's legs. What matters is righting the wrong. And if you're going to cherry pick that, then we have a problem. Number 3. I think this is one of the more important ones. If we're going to deal with the issue, we have to be honest. We have to. And that means we're going to have to admit to some shit that we don't like to admit to. Because if we're going to be about black people, then we should always be seeking the truth. Regardless if it's detrimental or beneficial, if it moves us forward. Now for me, I can simply not call your show again. And I'm pretty sure after my debates with the Truth Queen and Black Jesus Minister, I probably won't. Because I feel like a jackass for endorsing you. I do. Now hearing that come out of your mouth, I feel like a jackass. I honestly said you were actually moving in a direction with something that I could respect. And then I hear this, amongst other things, that it's just not pertinent to this video. And I feel completely like an idiot. And I hate feeling stupid. Now for me, that would be my solution to avoid this content in the future. Is to not call your platform. It's not like you're going to miss anything I contribute. And it's not like I'm going to miss contributing to your show. That's fair. But this is something I want you to ruminate on. If you want to have a discussion about it, by all means, let's discuss it. But on the real, what you did to Big J was just out of line. And more importantly, what you're doing when you see shit like this, is you're doing disservice to black women. Black women are too used to men letting them do whatever they want. They're too used to it. They're not used to men being real men. A real man is not afraid to correct a chick. He will do it with love and respect. But he's going to correct her. Because he would expect that same woman to see him out of line, out of zone, and pull him to the side and let him know you slipping. Don't know what's going on up there, but I need you to pull that together. And that's the difference between people who think they're building something real with their black counterpart, male or female, and those who actually are. We're never going to get anywhere as a community until we can be honest with one another, which is something you're asking us not to do.